infraspinatus, teres minor, teres major, subscapularis, this muscle. And also some muscles of the thorax and back, which transplaced. Long branches connected with the upper limb development and go to the upper limb, muscles, skin and muscles, bones and joints of the upper limb. They are innervated by the long branches of the spinal nerves. Now the next point you will explain zone of innervation. Name the branches, short and long, and their zone of innervation. With topography, you will explain, turn your attention, topography you will revise for explanation. Not only this branch goes and innervates, you will explain with detailed topography, explanation of detailed topography of each groove and foramina. For example, when today we will describe medianus nerve, you don't say that medianus goes on the brachium, goes on and here divides. You will explain in what groove it passes, in sulcus bicipitalis medianus, in fossa cubiti, between what structures lies. Here it passes in what common sheet between superficial and deep muscles of the forearm, and then it passes in the carpal canal. Here what superficial, to what muscles? Revise muscles of the hand, muscles of the tenar, hypotenar, medial groove, and all these branches with topography, you will corresponding explanation of the topography you will describe. This your home task. And now I will explain just cervical plexus. Formation you know, localization you know. Three group of branches it gives. Muscular branches, sensory branches. Sensory, they are skin, yes? And one mixed nerve. Muscular branches I have explained. But here you will stop and explain what communication have muscular branches of the cervical plexus, with what cranial nerve they have junction communication, with what cranial nerves. What pair of the cranial nerves?
Accessory hair.
Nerves accessorius ones. Together innervate what muscles? Trapezius, sternum mastoideus. Then hypoglossal nerve. 12 pair. What branch it gives? Hypoglossal nerve, by development, it is like anterior roots of the spinal nerves. Anterior roots of the spinal nerves. The hypoglossal nerve has radix superior. Cervical plexus gives radix inferior. They together form loop. What loop? Ansa cervicalis, or deep cervical ansa. Ansa cervicalis, connection with hypoglossal. This is hypoglossal nerve. Innervates muscles of the tongue, but it gives radix superior. Cervical plexus gives radix inferior. They form loop. Ansa. What group of muscle innervates? Infrahyoid group of muscles, sternohyoid, sternothyroid, thyrohyoid, and omohyoid. This group of muscle and geniohyoid from this region innervated from ansa cervicalis. Deep cervical loop is formed by junction of 12 pair hypoglossal nerve radix superior with radix inferior of the cervical plexus. You can repeat this, it is very difficult for you, I don't know why. Ansa cervicalis, how is formed? By what nerve?
Hypoglossal.
What root? It gives superior, it lies above. It gives from above down. Superior root, radix superior. Cervical plexus gives
Inferior.
inferior. They together form innervate infrahyoid muscles. With the 12 pair as communication. That's muscles of the neck we can revise as muscles of the head. Yes, we revise. Muscles of the neck, we can revise these muscles, their innervation. You must remember that in examination tickets you have spinal nerves in two types tickets. With the muscles of the neck and their innervation and blood supplyment, and separately the cervical plexus, branches and innervation in two parts. If you will receive ticket with muscles, you must obligatory explain. They are blood supplement and innervation. Muscles of the neck. You will name layer by layer. The most superficial muscle is what? No, most superficial, just under the skin. What muscle is located? Platysma, subcutaneous. Yes, platysma. Да, wonderful, да. Amazing. Platysma, subcutaneous muscle, which stretches the skin. It is mimetic muscles by development, which lies on the neck. If it mimetic muscle, what nerve innervates? Facialis. What branch? Ramus coli of parotid plexus of facial nerve. The parotid plexus gives ramus coli to platysma, facial nerve. Next layer. Sternocleidomastoid with trapezius. Two sources. Name. Just before explain. Accessorius and cervical plexus. No answer. Cervical plexus give muscular branches to the nearest muscle. Yeah? Cervical plexus and accessorius. Next group. Suprahyoid, infrahyoid. Infrahyoid through ansa cervicalis. Suprahyoid, what four muscles do you know? Geniohyoid, mylohyoid, stylohyoid, digastricus. Anterior part, which connected with the mandible, what pair? Mandible, mandibular branch, masticatory nerve, muscle, so innervated by what pair? Trigeminal mandibular nerve gives mylohyoid and anterior belly of digastricus. Do you remember? Mylohyoid nerve of nervus alveolaris inferior from mandibular, from the fifth pair has mandibular branch. That is why innervate all mandible and structures connected with mandible. This muscle connected with mandible, mylohyoid and anterior belly. But these muscles develop with the mimetic muscles from hyoid branchial arch, posterior belly of digastricus and stylohyoid. They are developed with mimetic muscles. That is why innervated by what nerve? Facial. After leaving of the facial nerve canal, canalis nervi facialis, it gives, before formation of the parotid plexus, it gives three branches. Auricularis posterior, digastricus, stylohyoid. You don't study, that is why you don't know these branches. The suprahyoid group, what two pairs of cranial nerves innervate? This part, trigeminal. This part, facial. This part, ansa cervicalis. And now the last group, deep group. We have lateral and medial. Lateral, they are scalene muscles. Medial, they are longus colli, longus capitis. Rectus capitis, lateralis anterior. What source of innervation they receive? Where is located? In thickness of this muscle. Значит, receives plexus cervicalis from muscular branches of plexus cervicalis. Do you understand how you will? Platysma from facial, sternocleidomastoid trapezius from accessorius and cervical plexus, suprahyoid from trigeminal and facial, infrahyoid from ansa cervicalis, deep muscle from cervical plexus. And layer by layer revise this muscle once more. So detailed I have explained in practical classes. During oral of the spinal nerves, nobody answered this huge group. Then brachial plexus. Oh no, sorry. We name only muscular branches of the cervical plexus. Now skin, cutaneous branches, sensory. What skin nerves gives? Cervical plexus gives 4 skin branches. What muscle is this? Just on mid half of this muscle, mid half, from the posterior bone. It is called so in this book. Punctum nervosum, so called. Punctum nervosum. Very good, described here plexus. Very good. Punctum nervosum, so called. From this. Yeah? Do you find this punctum nervosum? Arise in nervous point from which arise and spread. What nerves? Transversus colli, which gives superior inferior. Yeah? Transverse. Supraclavicular, lateral, medial, intermediary. Auricularis, magnus nerve, and occipitalis minor. What part of the skin they innervate in accordance with the name? Yeah? Auricularis magnus, occipitalis minor, transversus colli, and supraclavicular branches. Supraclavicular, transverse, auricularis magnus. If say magnus, it means only magnus we have. No major, minor. If say major, it means that we have minor. But magnus, it only single one. It is along goes to the lobe of the auricle and external meatus. Our auricle receives from so many sources of innervation. The posterior part of auricle, who can explain, who can name nerve which innervates skin of posterior part of auricle? About 40 students here studied the problems. Vagus, in cranial portion, it gives ramus auricularis. In mastoid canalicus passes and supplies through the fissura tympanomastoidea, rise single, only one branches to the skin. Branch to the skin gives vagus, posterior part auricle. Auricularis magnus from cervical plexus come. Anterior part of the auricle receives from nerves auriculotemporalis, trigeminal nerve supplies the anterior part. Yeah. Innervation of the auricle. Sensory branches, do you understand? And one branch of this plexus is mixed. Don't turn attention formation of each nerve, C1 or C2 or C2, so C3, it is not important. The more important name, branches and what structures innervates. Skin, what skin branches, muscles, what muscles. And one mixed nerve. What mixed nerve arises? The skin branches also demonstrated here, under the platine. In skin branches, turn your attention, we have also superficial cervical loop, ansa cervicalis superficialis. How is the superficial root formed? Ramus colli from the parotid plexus supplies musculus platysma, and nervus transversus colli from the cervical plexus supplies the skin. They form junction. Ansa cervicalis, from skin and muscle, platine. This muscle is so thin, preparation, dissection of this muscle is very difficult because intermixed so thin muscular fibers with the skin, just under the skin, attached to the skin, like mimetic muscles, or they are attached to the skin. Do you remember most specific feature of the mimetic muscles? They have a double bony attachment. Usually muscles from one bone attached to other bone. Mimetic muscle, they have a double bony attachment. Beginning from the different parts of the bones, they attach to the skin. Platysma also attached to the skin of the neck, to the skin of the chin region. Oh. What name has this loop? Ansa cervicalis superficialis. On the neck we have superficial and hypoglossal with cervical plexus, it is deep. Superficial cervical loop and deep cervical loop. Yeah? And one mixed nerve we have, one mixed nerve. What mixed nerve? Nervus phrenius. Usually we ask why the phrenic nerve arises from the cervical plexus. Can you explain? Diaphragm lies. Phrenicus is diaphragm. Yes, musculus phrenicus is diaphragm. Diaphragm lies here, but nerve arises from here. From the beginning of the explanation, I give this regularity. What regularity? Where the muscle is developed from this region receives. How you will answer on this question? That the diaphragm at first is developed cervical region with ventral musculature, of course, but cervical region of the embryo. That is why it receives from what plexus. And with the development, growth, it gradually descends. Development also explained. Usually we ask student question, why the vagus or sympathetic trunk give cervical branches? Why they give cervical branches? Ramus cardiacus cervicalis, vagus have ramus cardiacus cervicalis superior, inferior, or sympathetic nerve cardiacus cervicalis. The heart also, together with diaphragm, is developed on what region at first? On the third 4 week, the germ of the heart lies on the level of the apophysomite, on the neck, on the region of the neck. That is why the nerves give branch on the site of development. In the cervical region, heart receives cervical branches also, not only thoracic cardiac branch, but also cervical cardiac branches from the vagus, from sympathetic trunk. That is why you will explain shortly what word you will say. Why phrenic nerve is developed from cervical plexus. Development. Development explains this process. It is mixed nerve. That is why it has what type of fibers? Spinal nerves. Vegetative for the muscles, of course, but now we'll describe vegetative. You must keep in your mind, but in this topic you forgot about this vegetative portion. That all spinal nerves which go to the muscles gives trophic fibers, and to the skin gives to the sweat sebaceous. This part keep in your mind, but don't describe. Phrenic nerve, it is mixed spinal nerve, like rami ventralis, rami dorsalis. It has sensory fibers and no vegetative. Vegetative, of course, also present, but we'll describe the principal portion. Principal is sensory motor. And with topography, this nerve arises from the lower third four spinal nerves anterior branches, passes on musculus scalenus anterior. This space is called the scalene space. Anterior antescalene space, spatium antescalenum. In front of the scalene muscle we have spatium antescalenum, and vena subclavia together with this nerve pass in this space. Spatium interscalenum, what structures are located? Plexus brachialis and arteria subclavia. Spatium antescalenum lies nervus phrenicus and vena subclavia. You have not any basic knowledge. As you have noticed, I today have excursion on muscles, development, joint, all together. Topography of the muscles. What space passes nervus phrenicus, this nerve? Antescalene space together with vena. Arteria subclavia in interscalene, behind. Vena in front. Here, under the clavicle, between clavicle and first rib. At first, what structure lies? Vena subclavia, then behind arteria subclavia. Vena passes together with nervus phrenicus through superior aperture of thoracic cavity. It passes in thoracic cavity. Here it lies between pleura and mediastinal pleura and pericardium. In middle mediastinum passes. Middle mediastinum between pleura and pericardium, and sends sensory branches to the pleura and pericardium. Sensory portion, it is mixed nerve. Sensory portion supplies in pleurisy or pericarditis. What nerve in this process implemented? No? Nervus phrenicus supplies pleura and pericardium. Then it passes between tendinous part and muscular portion of the diaphragm and spread in phrenicus muscle, sends motor branch to the musculus phrenicus, supplies musculus phrenicus. Only right phrenicus nerve passes through the diaphragm between tendinous center and muscular portion, passes in abdominal cavity and through the celiac plexus in abdominal cavity. In aorta, in front of aorta, on posterior abdominal wall, we have plexus soleus. In this plexus soleus intermixed with this plexus soleus and goes to the liver, sensory, peritoneal ligaments and peritoneal covering of the liver and diaphragm, to the ligamentum coronarium hepatis, ligamentum falciforme hepatis, and peritoneum, which covers inferior surface of the diaphragm. Peritoneum also innervates. Phrenica abdominal portion innervates peritoneum, part of the peritoneum above the liver. There's three sensory branches. Three sensory we have in our body. Three serous tunica. What three serous tunica we have? Pleura, pericardium, and peritoneum. They are innervated by phrenicus nerve, but not all peritoneal cavity, only in the region of the liver. For example, in hepatitis, when the liver becomes more bigger in sizes, in sizes, liver. Russian physician Obraztsov, many years in 18th century. We have not any tomography.